bride who has never spoken.
Long before the first story was carved into stone, the sky danced with its own memory. The moon circled the sun like a child around a parent, and the breath of our elders drifted through the heavens. From that breath, dust became gold.
In the time before time remembered itself, when the moon still danced with the sun and the ancestors walked among mortals, there lived a powerful king named Okoroafor. His palace stood tall in the kingdom of Umuora, with walls that gleamed like polished bronze under the sun. King Okoroafor had everything a man could desire: wealth beyond measure, warriors who trembled at his command, and wisdom that made even the elders bow their heads. Yet he had no wife. One evening, as the harmattan wind whispered through the palm fronds, King Okoroafor made a proclamation that would seal his fate. He summoned his royal drummer, Chukwuemeka, and commanded him to beat the talking drum throughout the land. "Let it be known," the king declared, his voice echoing through the marketplace, "I seek a bride who has never spoken since the day of her birth. Not a word, not a whisper, not even a cry. The maiden who is truly silent shall become my queen." The people murmured among themselves. "Our king has lost his senses," said Obiageli, the palm wine seller. "What man wishes for a wife who cannot greet him in the morning or sing lullabies to his children?" But King Okoroafor would not be swayed. "I am tired of chattering women," he announced. "I want peace in my palace, not endless words that buzz like mosquitoes in my ears." Far, far away, deep in the forest of shadows, where sunlight feared to tread, there lived an ancient witch named Nena Ocha. Her skin was bark rough, her eyes glowed like dying embers, and her laughter could curdle fresh palm milk. She heard the king's foolish decree carried on the wings of the wind, and a wicked smile crept across her weathered face. "Foolish king," she cackled, stirring her pot of dark magic, "you ask for silence? I shall give you silence that will haunt your dreams." With a wave of her gnarled staff, Noneno Ocha transformed herself. Gone was the withered crone. In her place stood a maiden of extraordinary beauty, skin smooth as shea butter, eyes bright as morning stars, and lips as red as palm oil. She wrapped herself in the finest cloth and set out to Umuora, her feet making no sound on the forest path. When she arrived at the palace gates, the guards gasped. Here was a woman so beautiful that even the sun seemed to dim in her presence. They brought her before King Okoroafor, who sat upon his throne carved from iroko wood. "Who are you?" demanded the king. The maiden said nothing. She simply bowed her head gracefully.
Not speak?
"Can you speak?" asked Okoroafor, leaning forward. The maiden shook her head, her eyes cast downward in perfect modesty. The king's heart leapt with joy. At last, a woman who understands the value of silence. He turned to his advisors. "Prepare the marriage ceremonies. I have found my queen." His chief advisor, Ikenna, a man whose beard was white with wisdom, stepped forward. "My king, should we not learn more about this maiden? Where is her family? What village does she come from?" But King Okoroafor waved him away like a troublesome fly. Her silence is all the recommendation I need. The wedding was magnificent. Drums thundered, dancers swirled, and the air was thick with the aroma of roasted goat and jollof rice. The new queen, whom the king named Obianjuju, meaning one who is in the heart, sat beside him, beautiful and silent as a carved statue. For the first few days, King Okoroafor was pleased. No arguments disturbed his breakfast, no complaints interrupted his thoughts. His palace was as quiet as a tomb. But soon the silence began to press upon him like a heavy stone. When he shared good news, Obianjuju merely nodded. When he told a joke, she did not laugh. When he woke from nightmares, she offered no words of comfort. The silence that once seemed like gold now felt like chains. One evening, as the king sat alone with his thoughts, young Chidibere, the palace cook's son, ran crying through the courtyard. He had burned his hand on a hot pot. The queen happened to be passing by. She knelt down, examined the child's injury with eyes that showed no warmth, and then simply walked away without a sound of comfort or a gesture of care. King Okoroafor watched this, and something cracked inside his chest. "What kind of queen cannot comfort a crying child?" he whispered to himself. That night he could not sleep. He thought of his mother, who had sung him songs when he was afraid. He thought of the marketplace women whose laughter was like music. He thought of all the voices he had called mosquito buzzing, but were really the sounds of life itself. The next morning he called his advisor Ikena to his chambers. "I have made a terrible mistake," the king confessed, his voice heavy with regret. "I thought I wanted silence. But silence without warmth is like a river without water. It has the shape, but not the substance." "Then you must break your own decree, my king," said Ikena gently. King Okoroafor nodded slowly. "I shall speak to the queen and release her from this marriage with my blessing. Perhaps she will find happiness with someone who values silence as I once foolishly did." But when he went to Obianju's chambers, he found them empty. On the floor lay the beautiful cloth she had worn, and there, in the corner, was a pile of chicken bones, snake skins, and the stench of dark magic. Suddenly, a voice like grinding stones filled the room. It was the witch's true voice, no longer hidden. "You wanted a bride who never spoke, foolish king, but you never asked what other things she might never do. She would never comfort your children, never counsel you in times of trouble, never warn you of danger, never speak your name with love. You asked for silence, and silence is a cold companion in the dark." With that, a great wind howled through the palace, and when it cleared, Nena Ocho was gone, leaving only the echo of her laughter.
King Okoroafor fell to his knees, his heart heavy with shame and wisdom earned too late. He called his people together and spoke with a humility they had never heard before. "I have learned a bitter lesson," he said. "I demanded something unnatural because I was too proud to appreciate the gift of human connection. A voice can be bothersome, yes, but it is also how we share our joys, ease our sorrows, and build our bonds. I despised the very thing that makes us human." From that day forward, King Okoroafor never made a decree without consulting his people. He learned to appreciate not just words, but the wisdom, love, and life they carried. and though he eventually married again, a woman named Ogechi, whose laugh could fill the palace halls, he never forgot the silent bride who taught him that some things we push away are the very things we need most. Moral lesson: be careful what you wish for you may receive it and discover too late that you have asked for the wrong thing. What seems like an annoyance may actually be a blessing in disguise. The things that trouble us, a loved one's voice, their concerns, their questions, are often the threads that bind us together in the fabric of community and love. The child who says his mother's soup is too hot will one day long for it when he is served a cold meal. Or as the elders of Umuora now say, he who seeks silence will hear its echoes in the land of spirits. If you enjoyed this story, like, share, comment, and subscribe for more stories. Thank you for watching.